Now that we have downloaded all of the pieces for our fruit bowl and the bowl itself, as you can see, I made a new folder, S6 for Photoshop. Here's our assets folder, and I actually went ahead and made a separate folder within the assets folder called Fruit Bowl, because we've been working on a couple of different Photoshop projects. So now I'm ready to follow the next part of the instructions. So let's go. So we're going to scroll down to part 3 is working with the fruit bowl. So we need to create a new document that's 8.5 by 11 at 150 dpi. So it says download and paste all the files below, which we did. We're going to use some selection tools that I'm about to show you to take out the white backgrounds. Then we're going to organize the layers and place them in front and behind one another. So we're going to position the fruit in the bowl to whatever suits our needs. And then we've got to make sure the fruit are the correct size in comparison to one another. So you'll see I threw you some tricks and the fruits are different shapes. Then when you're done the fruit bowl, you're going to save the entire file. It's all layered to your master folder. Then you're going to have to go and do layer flatten, and you're going to save it as. It's a big word we talk about, save as. We want to save it as something else. We're going to save it as a JPEG and upload to Schoology. Why do we have to save it as a JPEG? Because PSDs cannot be viewed on internet browsers or in Schoology. So you're going to keep your one finished file so you can always go back and make adjustments to your master folder. And then this is what you're going to use to put on your website, email, and then upload to Schoology. So let's go and do that. We're going to go here into Adobe Photoshop, and I'm going to go File, New File, and we'll go to Print, and it said to do letter size. Now, if you remember, I went back into the settings under General, and I have the resolution automatically set to 150. Now, if you notice, the fruit bowl is pretty much horizontal. So I'm going to do that right here. The first thing I'm going to do is name it. So I'm going to name it Fruit Bowl. Okay? So it's 8.5 by 11 at 150. You're ready to go. So now I have this blank document. So now the first thing I want to do is I want to go in here and I want to open up the fruit bowl. Now, you don't want to double click on it because watch what happens. If I double click, it's going to actually open up in Apple's program called Preview. This is not what we want to do. That's not a good habit. So we want to do one of two things. We can either drag this over to the Photoshop icon and it'll open, but you could slip and hit the wrong icon and that'll cause problems. So let's go back to what we talked about before. If you hold the Control key and you click Open with Adobe Photoshop. Now, some of you have a couple different versions of Adobe Photoshop, so try and click on the most recent one. If it's not working, just ask me and let me know. So I'm going to have this open in Adobe Photoshop. So as you can see, I have my fruit bowl open, and up here there's a tab for that blank file for the fruit bowl. So the bowl and all of the fruit are going to go over into this finished piece. So let's figure out how we're going to select this. Now there's a variety of different tools out there, as you can see. If you hover over it long enough, it'll tell you what the tool does. I have those features turned off. But if I click here, I can draw a square. Obviously, that's not going to help me very much. There's also an oval tool. There's also these lasso tools, so you can draw a shape. And you always have to start back where you finish. I'm sorry, you have to finish where you started. And then you can have these selections, and then you can move things around, okay? But we want to put the fruit in the bowl, so we need to select the bowl first. Well, you're all lucky because there's a new feature in Photoshop. So all of your controls, like I said before, are up here, okay? Image for image adjustments. This controls your layers, and then right now, this is for selecting. So there's a great new feature called Select Subject. So this is your subject. Okay, it's the main focus of your picture. Now, for example, this works really well. If this was a wooden bowl on a wooden table with a wooden background, the program would not know the difference between those items. So I gave you all easy items on white backgrounds to be able to do this project. So now, as you can see, I have my Show Transform controls turned on. And now I'm ready to copy this. So I would just go, you hit the Command key and hit C for copy. Okay, then I'm going to go over to this item and I'm going to paste it in. So I'm going to hit the Command key and the letter V. Now you'll see the fruit bowl is pretty big, so I'm going to resize it. Okay, so I would probably say this is a fairly good size right here. because the fruit's going to be sitting out of the bowl like the pineapple and the bananas and the grapes. Okay, so now I'm ready to go. So I want to save this real quick. I'm going to go Command Save, and then you'll see this annoying box come up. So you want to hit on your computer. We don't use the cloud. We don't pay for the subscription. So we go on your computer, and then I would have to navigate to my folder, Photoshop, Assets, Fruit Bowl. And I'm going to hit Save. So this is Photoshop document because now it has a layer. If you look over here, you have your background layer and layer 1, which is the bowl. So I'm going to hit Save, and then I'm ready to go. So for the next step, we're going to select all the fruit and we're going to paste it into the bowl. Stay tuned.